Ladies and gentlemen, today I bring you a message that will shake the very foundations of your faith. A message that will ignite hope in your heart, and a message that will remind you the favor God has prepared for you is coming. I know you've been waiting. I know you've been praying. I know you've been trusting in silence, wondering if the breakthrough you've dreamed about will ever arrive. But hear me now. What God has planned for you is not just coming. It's coming at the perfect time in the fullness of His glory, and it will exceed every expectation. This favor is not based on your strength, your talent, or your timing. It is supernatural, divinely orchestrated, and unstoppable. You may have faced delays, detours, and disappointments, but every challenge has been setting the stage for your season of favor. God is aligning doors you didn't even see, opportunities you didn't even imagine, and connections you didn't even know you needed. There is a rhythm to life, a divine tempo that cannot be hurried, a timing that is orchestrated by the Creator Himself. Too often we look at our lives, at our dreams, and we grow impatient. We tap our fingers, we glance at the clock, we measure our worth by how fast things happen, and in doing so, we fail to recognize the hand of God moving behind the scenes. Favor, the kind that changes your life, does not arrive on our schedule. It comes on God's schedule. And that, my friends, is a message many people never fully understand. You may be sitting here today thinking, I've prayed, I've worked, I've been faithful, and nothing is happening. I hear you. I see your frustration. But let me remind you, the delay is not denial. The wait is not punishment. God is not asleep. He is working. He is moving. He is orchestrating circumstances you cannot yet see, aligning people you haven't met, and preparing opportunities you cannot yet imagine. Your favor is coming, and it will arrive in perfect timing, neither too early nor too late, but precisely when your life is ready to receive it. Think about Joseph in the Bible. Joseph, a young man with dreams bigger than his reality, was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into a pit. He worked faithfully in Potiphar's house, yet he was falsely accused and imprisoned. And in every moment of suffering, Joseph could have given up. He could have said, God, I've been faithful. Why haven't you moved? But Joseph understood something crucial. God's favor is not determined by human timelines. It is determined by divine timing. Years later, the same God who allowed him to be forgotten in prison elevated him above all nations as Pharaoh's right-hand man. His favor came, but it came exactly when it was supposed to. Fully matured, fully prepared, fully unstoppable. Too often we underestimate the power of patience. We want things immediately. We want doors to open now. We want results before God has finished preparing them. But the truth is, God is not just giving you a blessing, He is preparing you for it. He is shaping your character, developing your spirit, and strengthening your faith so that when your favor arrives, you can handle it. Because favor without preparation is wasted. Favor without readiness can be dangerous. That is why God's timing is perfect. Consider the seed. You plant it in the soil and you water it. You don't dig it up the next day to see if it has grown. You wait, you nurture it, you trust the process, and when it bursts forth, fully formed, bearing fruit beyond your imagination, you rejoice. Your life is like that seed. Every delay, every setback, every waiting period is part of God's preparation for your season of favor. Some of you have been waiting for years. Maybe it's a promotion at work, a breakthrough in your finances, a healing in your body, a restoration in a relationship, or a spiritual breakthrough in your life. I want you to hear me clearly. Your wait is not wasted. Your struggle is not in vain. The same God who brought Joseph out of prison, who brought David from the shepherdess field to the throne, who brought Esther to the palace, is moving on your behalf. Your favor is on the way, and it will come at the right time. But here is the key. You must align yourself with God's timing. You cannot hurry what He is doing. You cannot manipulate it. You cannot force it with your own efforts, your own plans, or your own impatience. You must trust Him. Trust that He knows exactly when to open the door. Trust that he knows the perfect moment when your life will be ready for the breakthrough. Trust that he is not slow, but faithful. Faith is tested in the waiting. It is in these moments when nothing seems to be happening that God is refining you. He is removing pride. He is building humility. He is preparing your heart to receive favor that is not just ordinary, but supernatural. And when that favor arrives, it will overwhelm you with its goodness, its timing, and its perfection. Remember Abraham and Sarah. They waited decades for a promise that seemed impossible. Sarah laughed at the thought of bearing a child in her old age, and yet God's timing was perfect. Isaac was born, and the favor of God manifested in a way that exceeded human expectation. The lesson is clear. God's timing is never late, and it is never early. It is always perfect. Some of you are looking for shortcuts. Some of you are trying to force doors open that God is holding closed for a reason. I want to warn you, don't rush God's favor. Don't despise the delay. Don't undermine his plan. Favor that is forced is fleeting. Favor that is timed by God is eternal. And when it comes, it will come with blessing, with honor, with opportunity, and with transformation. I want to speak directly to those of you who feel forgotten. You've prayed, you've given, you've done your part, and you wonder if God sees you. I promise you he does. Every tear you've shed, sacrifice you've made, every struggle you've endured has not gone unnoticed. God is orchestrating your breakthrough in perfect timing. The favor he has prepared for you is not a reward for your speed. It is a reward for your faithfulness, your patience, and your trust. You may ask, but how do I know it's coming? I tell you, the evidence is in the preparation. God never acts on empty hearts or shallow faith. He prepares, he tests, he strengthens, and he positions you. Every person, every connection, every encounter that has crossed your path is part of the preparation for your favor. The pieces are being placed together even when you cannot see the full picture. So today, I urge you to stand firm in your faith. Do not grow weary. Do not lose hope. Do not despise the waiting. Instead, rejoice in the process. Thank God for the preparation. Thank God for the refining. Thank God for the invisible work he is doing behind the scenes. Because when your favor arrives, it will be unstoppable, unshakable, and undeniable. Your breakthrough is not late. It is coming at the right moment. Your season of favor is not a dream. It is a reality that is being prepared by the hand of God himself. Trust his timing. Stay faithful in the waiting. Keep walking in obedience. Keep sowing seeds of righteousness. Keep nurturing your gifts. And when that divine favor manifests in your life, it will be more than you imagine. It will be more than you prayed for. It will be a testimony of God's perfect timing and his unending goodness. Let today be the day you declare, I will not rush God. I will not despise the delay. I will trust his timing, for I know that the favor he has prepared for me is coming, and it will arrive exactly when it is meant to, and it will change everything. There is a strength that does not shout, a power that does not rush, a discipline that is forged not in movement, but in stillness. And that strength is patience. In a world that celebrates speed, instant results, and overnight success, patience feels uncomfortable. It feels slow. It feels unfair. But hear me clearly today. Patience is not weakness. Patience is preparation. Patience is the silent classroom where God trains you for the blessing you've been praying for. Many people want the promise, but they are not ready for the process. They want the reward, but they resist the waiting. Yet God in his infinite wisdom understands something we often forget. If he gives you the blessing before he prepares you, the blessing can break you. That is why patience is not God withholding from you. It is God protecting you. When God makes you wait, he is not ignoring you. He is strengthening you. He is building endurance in your spirit. He is teaching you how to stand when things don't move, how to trust when answers don't come quickly, how to worship when progress seems invisible. Because the truth is, if you cannot handle the waiting season, you will struggle in the winning season. Look at the opal who rushed into blessings they weren't prepared for. They received opportunities too early, influence too fast, responsibility too soon, and it crushed them. But those who learned patience were able to carry the weight of favor without collapsing under it. Patience stretches your capacity so that when the blessing comes, it fits. Think about how God works. He rarely moves suddenly, but he always moves surely. He takes his time because he is doing more than changing your situation. He is changing you. While you are waiting for the door to open, God is teaching you discipline. While you are waiting for the breakthrough, God is building character. While you are waiting for recognition, God is shaping humility. These are not delays, they are investments. Patience teaches you how to depend on God rather than outcomes. It strips away entitlement and replaces it with gratitude. It removes pride and replaces it with maturity. And maturity is required for greater blessings. God does not promote impatience. He promotes readiness. Some of you are frustrated because things are not happening as fast as you expected. You look around and see others moving ahead, achieving more, receiving applause, and you wonder why your life feels stalled. But what you don't see is that God is doing a deeper work in you. While others are building platforms, God is building foundations in you, and foundations take time. Patience also teaches you discernment. When you wait long enough, you learn the difference between good opportunities and God opportunities. Everything that looks like a blessing is not a blessing. Everything that opens is not a door you should walk through. Patience gives you clarity. It teaches you how to say no to what is quick so you can say yes to what is lasting. Waiting seasons reveal who you truly are. When nothing is changing on the outside, what happens on the inside becomes visible. Do you complain or do you trust? Do you grow bitter or do you grow better? Do you walk away or do you stay faithful? God watches how you handle the weight, because the weight reveals whether you can handle the blessing. Patience trains your faith to function without evidence. It teaches you how to believe before you see. It strengthens your spirit to stand on promises even when circumstances argue otherwise. And this kind of faith is dangerous in a good way. It positions you for blessings that cannot be explained by logic, effort, or timing alone. There is also refining that happens in patience. God uses the waiting season to burn away distractions, unhealthy attachments, and false expectations. He removes what would interfere with the blessing. He clears space in your life so that when the blessing arrives, it has room to grow. Some of you are asking God to move faster, but God is asking you to grow deeper. Faster does not always mean better. Bigger does not always mean stronger. And sooner does not always mean safer. God knows exactly how much patience you need. Because he knows exactly how big the blessing is going to be. Patience also prepares you emotionally. It teaches you how to handle disappointment without quitting, how to endure pressure without breaking, how to remain consistent without applause. These qualities are essential because greater blessings come with greater responsibility, greater visibility, and greater opposition. If you haven't learned patience, the pressure of the blessing will overwhelm you. Let me tell you something important. The waiting season is not empty. It is full of purpose. Every day you wait is a day you are being shaped. Every unanswered prayer is an invitation to trust deeper. Every closed door is protection from something you were not ready to face. God is not slow. He is intentional. He knows when you are ready, and he knows when the blessing is ready for you. And when those two align, nothing can stop what he releases. Patience also teaches you gratitude. When you've waited long enough, you don't take the blessing lightly. You cherish it. You protect it. You steward it well. You understand its value because you understand what it cost you to wait for it. Some of you are closer than you think. The wait feels long because the blessing is heavy. The delay feels painful because the reward is significant. God does not take years to prepare people for small things. He takes time because he is planning something substantial. So do not despise the waiting. Do not rush the process. Do not compare your timing to someone else's journey. Your path is custom made. Your preparation is intentional. Your patience is producing something you cannot yet see. Stay faithful. Stay consistent. Stay teachable. Keep showing up even when progress feels slow. Keep praying even when answers seem distant. Keep believing even when evidence is thin, because patience is working in your favor. And when the blessing finally comes, and it will come, you will realize that the wait was necessary. You will see that every delay built strength. Every quiet season built wisdom. Every tear built endurance. You will understand that patience didn't hold you back, it prepared you. The favor God has prepared for you is not fragile. It is not rushed. It is not random. It is carefully timed and carefully crafted. And patience is the key that ensures you can carry it, protect it, and walk in it with confidence and humility. So today, make this decision. You will not quit in the waiting. You will not complain in the process. You will not doubt in the delay. You will trust that patience is doing its work. Because when God releases what He has prepared for you, it will be worth every moment you waited, and it will arrive with power, purpose, and peace. Faith is not passive. Faith is not silent. Faith is not waiting for permission. Faith is movement in the absence of evidence. It is the courage to step forward when logic says stay still, the strength to believe when circumstances say give up, and the confidence to trust God when nothing around you makes sense. Faith is the key that opens doors you cannot see. Doors that do not exist on any map. Doors that only appear when you move toward them. Most people are waiting for visible signs before they act. They want confirmation, guarantees, proof, and reassurance. But faith does not operate on proof. It operates on promise. God does not reveal the whole path at once. He reveals the next step. And when you take that step in faith, something supernatural happens. Doors begin to form where walls once stood. There are opportunities God has already assigned to your life, but they remain invisible until faith activates them. These doors do not open with effort alone, talent alone, or connections alone. They open when faith aligns you with divine purpose. That is why some people with fewer qualifications move further than those with more credentials. Faith opens what skill cannot. Think about how God led His people through the wilderness. He did not show them the destination on day one. He gave them daily direction, and every step of obedience revealed new provision. Faith works the same way in your life. You move first, and clarity follows. You trust first, and opportunity appears. Faith is the language God responds to. When He sees faith, He responds with access. Faith invites heaven into earthly situations. It pulls divine possibilities into human limitations. When you act in faith, you give God permission to intervene. Many of you are standing in front of closed doors wondering why nothing is happening. But what if the door is not closed? What if it is invisible? What if God is waiting for you to step forward before He reveals it? Faith does not wait for the door to open. Faith walks until the door appears. Look at Peter stepping out of the boat. The water did not look stable. The storm did not stop. The conditions did not improve. But the moment Peter put his foot down in faith, the impossible became possible. The opportunity to walk on water was invisible until faith activated it. The same is true for your life. Fear keeps people frozen. Faith keeps people moving. Fear asks, what if it fails? Faith declares, what if God shows up? Fear focuses on risk. Faith focuses on reward. Fear looks at what could go wrong. Faith looks at what God has already promised. Some of you have been praying for doors to open, but God is waiting for you to walk. He has already spoken. He has already confirmed. He has already stirred your spirit. The next move is yours. Faith without action is just hope in disguise. Faith will take you places comfort never will. It will move you into rooms you never imagined entering. It will introduce you to people you never thought you'd meet. It will position you for opportunities that logic cannot explain. And when people ask how you got there, you will only be able to say, God opened a door I couldn't see. Faith also requires obedience, not partial obedience. not delayed obedience, immediate obedience. Because delayed obedience weakens faith. Every time you hesitate, doubt grows stronger, but every time you act, faith increases. There are moments when God will ask you to move before you understand, to trust before you see, to obey before you agree. Those moments are not tests of intelligence, they are tests of faith. And every test of faith carries a door attached to it. Invisible doors often appear in uncomfortable places. They show up in seasons of uncertainty, in moments of loss, in times of pressure. That's why so many people miss them. They are looking for opportunity and comfort, but God hides opportunity in faith. Faith also changes how you see obstacles. What looks like resistance may actually be redirection. What feels like rejection may be protection. What appears to be delay may be divine alignment. Faith allows you to see beyond the moment and trust the outcome. When you walk by faith, you don't need all the answers. You just need assurance that God is leading you. And when God leads you, every step carries purpose, even the difficult ones. Some doors will not open until you stop knocking on the wrong ones. Faith gives you discernment to walk away from what is not meant for you. It helps you release what is familiar so you can step into what is greater. Faith also requires patience, not passive waiting, but active trust. It means continuing to move, continue to prepare, continue to believe even when results are slow. Invisible doors don't appear overnight. They form as you stay faithful. There are opportunities waiting for you on the other side of your obedience, but you will never access them if you stay where it feels safe. Faith demands movement. It demands risk. It demands trust. God rewards faith because faith honors Him. It acknowledges His power, His authority, and His promises. When you step out in faith, you declare that God is greater than your fear. Some of you are closer than you realize. The door is forming as you move. The opportunity is aligning as you obey. The breakthrough is unfolding as you trust. But if you stop now, you will miss it. Faith does not eliminate challenges. It empowers you to overcome them. It does not guarantee ease, it guarantees presence. God walks with those who walk in faith. You were never meant to see every door before you start moving. You were meant to trust God enough to move anyway. And when you do, what was once invisible becomes undeniable. Today, make a decision. You will no longer wait for perfect conditions. You will no longer let fear hold you back. You will step forward in faith, knowing that every step activates divine opportunity, because the favor God has prepared for you is not locked away. It is waiting to be revealed. And faith is the key that opens doors no one else can see, doors no one else can close, doors that will lead you exactly where God intends you to be. In is never random. Struggle is never wasted. What you have been through is not meaningless, and what you are enduring right now is not without purpose. The very things that tried to break you are the same things God is using to build a testimony that will change lives. You may see struggle as an interruption, but God sees it as preparation. You may feel like you're barely surviving, but God is shaping a story that will one day give others the strength to stand. A testimony is not born in comfort. It is forged in pressure. It is shaped in the moments when you had questions but kept trusting, when you were hurting but kept believing, when you were tired but refused to quit. If everything had gone smoothly, you would have a story, but you would not have a testimony. A testimony requires adversity, resistance, and endurance. Some of you are asking God, why am I going through this? And God is answering, because what you're carrying is bigger than you. Your struggle is not just about you, it's about the people who will hear your story and find hope. It's about the lives that will be encouraged because you didn't give up. What feels like suffering now will one day become evidence that God is faithful. Every scar tells a story. Tear leaves a mark. Every setback carries a lesson. And when God is finished, you won't look like what you've been through. You will look like someone who survived it, learned from it, and came out stronger. That is the power of a testimony. Struggles expose what is real in you. They strip away appearances and reveal faith. When everything is going well, it's easy to praise, but when things fall apart and you still stand, that's when your faith speaks loudest. That's when your life becomes a message. Some of you were betrayed by people you trusted. Others were rejected when you expected support. Some were overlooked, misunderstood, or abandoned. And in those moments, it felt unfair. It felt painful. It felt unnecessary. But God was watching how you responded. He was shaping patience, resilience, and wisdom inside you. He was teaching you lessons that comfort could never teach. Your struggle is giving you credibility. People listen to those who have been through something. They lean in when they hear a voice that understands pain. When you speak from experience, your words carry weight. Your testimony becomes proof that God can bring light out of darkness. You didn't just survive to survive. You survived to testify. You survived to tell someone else that they can make it too. You survived so that when someone is standing where you once stood, you can say, I know how it feels, and I know there is a way through. Struggles also refine your character. They teach you humility. They teach you compassion. They teach you how to pray with sincerity instead of routine. They teach you how to depend on God instead of yourself. And dependence on God is where real strength is found. There are things God can only teach you in top. Valley. On the mountain you celebrate. In the valley you learn. And what you learn in the valley prepares you for the responsibility of the mountain. Without the valley, the height would overwhelm you. Some of you are carrying guilt over your past. You think your mistakes disqualify you, but God specializes in redemption. He takes broken stories and turns them into powerful testimonies. Your past does not cancel your calling, it confirms it. Because when God restores you, your story becomes evidence that grace works. Your struggle has also given you discernment. You see things differently now. You recognize warning signs. You value peace more. You protect your purpose more carefully. These are not losses, they are upgrades. They came through pain, but they produced wisdom. You may not understand why God allowed certain doors to close, certain relationships to end, certain plans to fail. But one day, you will look back and realize those struggles redirected you. They kept you from paths that would have destroyed you. They guided you toward purpose you couldn't see at the time. The enemy wanted your struggle to silence you. God wants it to amplify you. What was meant to break your confidence will strengthen your voice. What was meant to shame you will empower you. What was meant to stop you will send you forward. There is also healing in the testimony. When you speak about what you've overcome, it reminds you of how far you've come. It restores your confidence. It LDS your faith. And it releases freedom, not just for others, but for you. Some of you are still in the middle of the struggle. The story isn't finished yet. The chapter feels heavy. But don't judge the ending by the middle. God is still writing. And when he finishes, your testimony will make sense. You are not weak for feeling tired. You are not faithless for feeling discouraged. You are human. But the fact that you're still standing proves there is strength in you that you didn't know you had. That strength was built through struggle. God never wastes pain. He recycles it into purpose. He transforms wounds into wisdom. He turns trials into testimonies. And when people see what you've come through, they won't just admire you. They'll see God's hand on your life. Your struggle is not a sign that God has left you. It is a sign that he is shaping you. He is molding your voice. He is preparing your influence. He is building a testimony that will open doors and touch hearts. One day you will speak about this season without tears. One day you will encourage others with confidence. One day you will realize that the very thing you wished away became the foundation of your strength. So don't hide your struggle. Don't be ashamed of your process. Don't silence your story. What you've been through matters. What you survived matters. And what God is doing through it matters. Stand tall in your testimony. Walk boldly in your healing. Trust fully in God's purpose. Because your struggle did not break you. It shaped you. And the favor God has prepared for you is being carried on the back of a testimony that will bring hope, healing, and transformation to many. Gratitude is not a reaction to abundance. It is the pathway to it. Too many people wait until life improves before they give thanks, but God responds to gratitude that rises even when circumstances have not yet changed. Gratitude is faith in action. It declares, I trust God not only for what He has done, but for what He is about to do. When you live with gratitude, you position your heart to receive more of what heaven wants to release into your life. Gratitude changes your posture. Complaining keeps your hands closed, but gratitude opens them. You cannot receive when your fists are clenched in frustration. But when you lift your hands in thanksgiving, you create space for God to place something new in them. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, from what went wrong to what God is still doing. Some of you are praying for more while ignoring what you already have. You're asking God for the next blessing while undervaluing the current one. But God multiplies what is appreciated. When you honor what He has already given, you show Him you are ready to steward what is coming next. Gratitude is proof of maturity. Gratitude also protects your heart from bitterness. Waiting seasons can produce resentment if you're not careful. Delays can turn into disappointment, and disappointment can turn into doubt. But gratitude interrupts that cycle. It reminds you that God has been faithful before, and He will be faithful again. It anchors your soul when emotions are unstable. When you cultivate gratitude, you begin to see differently. What once felt ordinary becomes extraordinary. What once felt small becomes significant. Gratitude sharpens your spiritual vision, so you can recognize blessings that were always there but previously overlooked. Sometimes the miracle is not what God changes around you, but what He changes within you. Gratitude invites God's presence. It creates an atmosphere where peace replaces anxiety and hope replaces fear. Praise and gratitude are spiritual magnets. They draw heaven into your situation. When you thank God in advance, you are declaring your expectation that He will move. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in Scripture happened after expressions of gratitude. Before provision appeared, thanksgiving was offered. Before victory was visible, praise went up. Gratitude goes ahead of the blessing and prepares the way for it. Gratitude also humbles you. It reminds you that what you have is not solely the result of your effort, your skill, or your discipline. It acknowledges God as the source. And humility is a requirement for increase. God entrusts more to those who recognize where it comes from. Many people block their own blessings with entitlement. They believe they deserve more without demonstrating appreciation for what they have. Gratitude dismantles entitlement. It replaces expectation with appreciation, and appreciation attracts increase. Gratitude does not deny pain. It does not ignore struggle. It does not pretend everything is perfect. Gratitude simply chooses perspective. It says, even here, God is with me. Even now, God is working. That perspective keeps you grounded when life is uncertain. Some of you have been focusing on what hasn't happened yet, and it's draining your joy. You're measuring your life by future ohms instead of present grace. Gratitude pulls you back into the moment and reminds you that today still matters. This season still counts. Your life is still valuable right now. Gratitude also prepares you emotionally for greater blessings. When you've learned to be thankful in little, you will not be overwhelmed by much. When you've learned to rejoice in progress, you'll know how to handle completion. Gratitude trains your heart to stay steady. No matter how much God increases you, there are blessings attached to your attitude. Two people can be in the same situation, but the one with gratitude experiences peace while the other experiences frustration. Gratitude does not change the situation. It changes how you walk through it. Gratitude keeps you aligned with purpose. When you're thankful, you remain aware of God's involvement in your journey. You don't drift. You don't forget where you came from. You stay connected to the source. Some of you are overlooking answered prayers because they didn't come packaged the way you expected. Gratitude helps you recognize God's answers even when they look different from your request. It helps you trust His wisdom over your preferences. Gratitude also strengthens your faith. Every time you thank God for what He has already done, you remind yourself that He is capable of doing it again. Gratitude builds confidence in God's character. It says, if He did it before, He can do it again. When gratitude becomes a lifestyle, it changes the atmosphere around you. People feel peace in your presence. Hope follows your words. Joy becomes contagious. Gratitude makes you a vessel God can use to bless others. Gratitude also guards against comparison. When you're thankful for your journey, you stop measuring yourself against someone else's timeline. You become content without becoming complacent. Gratitude allows ambition without anxiety. Some of you are closer to your breakthrough than you realize. The only thing missing is gratitude for the process. When you begin to thank God for the growth, the lessons, and the preparation, you unlock peace even before the promise arrives. Gratitude doesn't just acknowledge blessings, it multiplies them. It positions you for overflow because it shows God that you are trustworthy with increase. You don't idolize the blessing, you honor the giver. So today, make a decision. You will stop complaining about what you don't have and start celebrating what you do. You will stop focusing on what's delayed and start thanking God for what's developing. You will stop waiting for everything to be perfect before you praise, because gratitude is not the end of the journey. It is the doorway to the next level. It is the posture that invites favor, the mindset that sustains blessing, and the spirit that attracts more. Live grateful, speak grateful, think grateful. And as you do, you will find that God continues to pour into a heart that recognizes His goodness. The favor God has prepared for. Or you respond to gratitude. And when you stay thankful, you stay positioned to receive more. There comes a moment when faith must leave the realm of intention and enter the arena of action. Prayer prepares you. Belief aligns you. But bold action releases what God has already placed within reach. Many people believe in God's favor, talk about God's favor, even pray for God's favor, yet never experience it fully because they hesitate when it is time to move. Favor responds to courage. It manifests when obedience steps forward without fear. God has never rewarded passivity. Throughout history, He moved when His people moved. The promise was spoken, but the miracle happened when someone acted. Bold action is not arrogance. It is trust put into motion. It is saying, God, I believe You enough to move before I feel ready. Too many opportunities are lost to hesitation. Fear whispers, wait until you're more confident. Wait until you're more prepared. Wait until conditions are perfect. But favor does not wait for perfection. It responds to obedience. God does not ask you to feel ready. He asks you to trust Him enough to move. Bold action stretches you beyond comfort. And that is exactly where favor flows. Comfort zones protect insecurity, but they suffocate calling. The life God has prepared for you exists beyond what feels safe. That is why every major breakthrough requires a step that feels risky. Look closely at the pattern. The water did not part until the step was tacked in. The miracle did not happen until obedience was activated. God responds to movement because movement proves trust. Bold action tells heaven, I believe You are already ahead of me. Some of you are waiting for God to do what He is waiting for you to do. He has already opened the door, but you are standing still because fear has convinced you that staying safe is wisdom. But safety is not always obedience. Sometimes obedience requires courage that makes no sense to logic. Bold action is not loud confidence. It is quiet resolve. It is choosing to do what God instructed even when your emotions resist. It is applying for the opportunity even when rejection feels possible. It is stepping forward even when the outcome is uncertain. Favor often hides behind discomfort. That's why timid obedience produces limited results. God's favor is released when you act decisively, not impulsively, but faithfully. When you say yes fully, not halfway. Partial obedience delays favor. Delayed obedience weakens momentum, but bold obedience accelerates divine movement. When you move in faith, heaven responds with alignment. Some people miss favor because they overthink it. They analyze every possibility, every outcome, every risk. But favor flows through trust, not control. You don't need every answer, you need obedience. Bold action also silences fear. Fear grows in inactivity. But when you move, fear loses its voice. Action starves doubt and feeds confidence. Every step you take strengthens your faith muscles. God has already placed gifts inside you that require action to activate. Potential unused is favor unreleased. Dreams unpursued remain dormant. Bold action awakens what God planted in you. There are moments when God will open a window of opportunity, and that window requires immediate response. Hesitation can close what obedience would have secured. That's why boldness matters. It recognizes divine timing and responds without delay. Bold action does not mean reckless behavior. It means spirit-led movement. It means you've prayed, you've trusted, and now you move. Favor flows where obedience leads. Some of you have been circling the same mountain because you won't take the step that scares you. That step is not your destruction, it is your deliverance. Fear exaggerates danger, but faith reveals purpose. Bold action also builds credibility. When God sees you acting on His word, He entrusts you with more. Movement proves stewardship. It shows God that you value what He has already spoken. You don't need permission from people to obey God. Many doors God opens will not be understood by others. Bold action requires you to trust God's voice above public opinion. Favor will sometimes offend those who are comfortable watching you stay small. But obedience is not about approval, it's about alignment. Bold action creates momentum. One step leads to another. One act of obedience opens the next door. God rarely reveals the entire journey at once. He responds to steps, not plans. Some of you are asking God for clarity, but clarity follows obedience. You move and understanding catches up. You step and direction sharpens. Bold action so reshapes identity. When you move in obedience, you stop seeing yourself as limited. Confidence grows. Authority strengthens. You begin to walk like someone who knows God is with them. Favor is not released by wishing. It is released by walking. It is activated by decisions, not intentions. You were not created to sit on potential. You were designed to move, build, speak, lead, and influence. Bold action is how purpose breathes. God is not asking you to do everything. He is asking you to do the next thing. One obedient step is enough to trigger divine response. Some of you are closer than you think. The breakthrough is on the other side of the action you've been avoiding. The favor is waiting for movement. Bold action doesn't guarantee ease, but it guarantees presence. God walks with those who walk in obedience. When you move, He moves. Stop waiting for confidence. Confidence follows obedience. Stop waiting for certainty. Certainty grows with movement. Stop waiting for approval. God has already spoken. Today, decide that fear will no longer control your steps. Decide that obedience will be your response. Decide that when God speaks, you move. Because the favor God has prepared for you is not locked away in the future. It is released through action in the present. And when you step boldly, trusting God fully, favor will meet you on the path of obedience and carry you into everything He promised. And now, as we stand at the threshold of everything God has been preparing, I want you to hear this clearly. Nothing you've walked through has been wasted. The timing that tested you was shaping you. The patience that stretched you was strengthening you. The faith that pushed you forward opened doors you couldn't see. The struggles that tried to break you built a testimony that will bless lives. The gratitude you chose in hard seasons positioned you for increase. And the bold steps you took, often trembling, often unsure, released favor that could not be stopped. This is not a random moment in your life. This is a divine alignment. God has been intentional with your process because He is intentional with your purpose. You were never forgotten. You were never delayed without reason. You were never denied, only prepared. What's coming requires the version of you that has been refined by waiting, strengthened by faith, humbled by gratitude, and activated by obedience. That is why the journey mattered. That is why the pressure was necessary. That is why you are still standing. I declare today that you will no longer doubt the process. You will no longer despise the preparation. You will no longer question your worth because, F the wait. You will trust God's timing, walk boldly by faith, and move forward with confidence, knowing that heaven is backing your steps. Lift your head, straighten your posture, adjust your expectation, because the favor God has prepared for you is not fragile. It is powerful. It is not rushed. It is ready. And it is not distant. It is unfolding right now. Walk into your next season with courage. Speak with authority. Live with gratitude. Act with boldness. And when the favor manifests, and it will, you won't just celebrate the blessing. You will honor the process that brought you there. This is your moment. This is your season. And what God is releasing next will be worth everything it took to get here.